Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. I am Hogziller, and this is your small ball recap for baseball Temporary Pro League Season 4. We have the Temporary Pro League season to cover, along with a couple new standard tournaments, plus the Hogziller Golf Tournament. So let's hop into it. The Small Ball Grand Prix is still in progress as no team has reached the 10-star level at the time of this recording. I do want to note that I did finally get to 9 stars with my first team. There has also been no new news from the commish on Deluxe Trainer. In New Standards Tournament the week prior, he hosted Small Ball NFL. In the preliminary rounds, it was New Standard taking the top spot while RGB advanced in a three-way tiebreaker. As for the final, there was a total of 4 games played, each game representing a quarter of an NFL game, and the final scores would be added up to determine the victor. New Standard wins with a final score of 28-11 in that tournament. This past weekend's tournament was New Standard's Maybe This Weekend tournament, with 5 teams in a single group play. It was Martin's Man in the High Castle against Todd Castor's Devils in the infield, with High Castle winning with a final score of 8-1. Hogziller hosted the Lost Patriot Golf Invitational Tournament the prior week, with Ketch taking home the first prize and the third prize, while RGB took home second, with the game having to withdraw because his golf clubs got lost by the airline. Hogziller might not have won anything in the tournament golfing, but I did win the post-match taco eating buffet contest. Now for the Temporary Pro League Season 4, which has been greatly run by Quill. Starting with League 1, we had a very close finish at the top, and it ended up going down to the run differential tiebreaker, with New Standards That 70s team beating out Quill's Joker's Wild by 1 run. Santa Cruz finished 3rd, Southsiders 4th, the Rat Pack 5th, and that was on run differential over Moosey Moose, which finished 6th. And then Porcupines finished 1 spot ahead of the drop zone, also based on run differential, after they split their season series with the Sandlot Bully. Then it was the Sandlot Bully, Huddleys, and Wildcats finishing in the drop zone. Now for League 2. The Toronto Raptors and Alabama Taters finished with identical 16-2 records. They both got 1 win and 1 loss against each other during the season, so we go to run differential, which favors the Toronto Raptors in the top spot. Alabama Taters then finish 2nd. Man in the High Castle finishes 3rd to round out the promotion spots. Then it becomes a giant mess for the 4th, 5th, and 6th. So there was the Kansas Jayhawks, Riverboat Gamblers, and Unusual Suspects, all finishing 8-10. They all won 1 and lost 1 against each other in the 3-way tie. Then it goes to run differential. And so now the Jayhawks and the Riverboat Gamblers are tied at -12, and the Unusual Suspects has 24 negative. So they are 6th place. So now we go to runs allowed, which are obviously tied at 71. So we would normally go to runs scored, which is tied at 59. Now, Quill and I didn't think that it would ever get this far, but I did suggest as a 5th tiebreaker, what is the aggregate score of the remaining tied teams in the tiebreaker, which in this case, between the Kansas Jayhawks and the Riverboat Gamblers, the Jayhawks scored 5 runs, while the Riverboat Gamblers scored 4 runs. Therefore, I am self-proclaiming that Kansas Jayhawks finished 4th and the Riverboat Gamblers finished 5th, only because it has nothing to do with the promotion or relegation spots. Moving on, the next big tiebreaker was a three-way tie for the final safety spot, which was between Black Sox, my first team, and Pulutan, all finishing 7 wins and 11 losses. In this particular case, everybody split against everybody else during the season. So we go back to run differential. And in this particular case, it is clear that Pulutan with -8 run differential outbeats Black Sox at -9 and my first team at -31. Then Husker Power would finish 10th based on the 2-16 record. Therefore, it is Black Sox, my first team, and Husker Power in the relegation places. For League 3, we have Native American finishing first with a 16-2 record, and the other promotion spots went to the Daddy Lions and the Falcons. 4th place is Devil in the Infield. 5th place, Nightmare Game Knights. 6th place, Baldwin Blazers. In 7th place, Braves 96th. In the relegation zone, it's Dad's Sad Daughters, Unrivaled, and Dark Warriors. Unrivaled finishes 9th based on the head-to-head 1-0 victory by Unrivaled. Another tie-breaking mess in League 4. 1320 finishes with a perfect record of 14-0. Bullies in Training finishes second with a 10-4 record. Then Pigs and Rock and Roll finish with identical 9-5 records. They split their season series, 1 win each. Therefore, we go to run differential, where Hogzilla's Pigs had a better run differential than Quill's Rock and Roll by a margin of 64-39. Therefore, the Pigs are in 3rd and earn the promotion spot. The Scrubs finish 5th. Maple Heights Mustang finishes 6th. Durham Bulls 7th, and Bird Brains 8th. Our feature match comes from the clinching match for That 70s Team versus MW Wildcats. As we look at the standings, what they look like coming into that match, we see that That 70s Team needed a win, plus they needed to have a higher run differential than Joker's Wild. So let's go to a very anxious and nervous crowd at the Celine Dion New Standard Stadium of Greater Toronto. Let's hop into the radio commentary of Game 33784. Welcome again! I am Hogziller, back to my normal radio commentary duties this week as we have a potential championship clinching matchup here. We have the current last place MW Wildcats versus the current second place That 70s Team, looking to move up to the top spot. The crowd was out here early grilling salmon patties and moose burgers ahead of this game. Plus, all the fans have their calculators out, ready to figure out if their team has done enough to win this championship should they win this game today. We have Will out here at the moment throwing the first pitch, and he brought along the championship trophy in case it needs to be presented today. Wildcats get nothing in the top of the first, but That 70s Team gets off to the perfect start with this. Jackie Burkhart here to lead off for That 70s Team here in the bottom of the first. And the pitch. Deep fly ball to right! And all the right fielder can do is look up at it! Home run! And it is 1-0 in favor of That 70s Team. The magic number for the run differential is down to 3. After a single to right by Fez, this happened next. Leo coming up to bat here with a runner on first, looking to extend the lead for That 70s Team and get them closer to a championship. The pitch. Oh my! This is high! This is deep! And it is gone! Over the center field fence, and it's off the Labatt Blue sign. It is 3-0 in favor of That 70s Team, and right now, the run differential is tied with Joker's Wild. The run differential would not be tied for long, as in the bottom of the second, after a triple by Randy Pearson, this happened. Donna up to bat here with a runner in scoring position, 1 out. The pitch. Deep fly ball to right. This is off the wall, and this will bring around Randy, and that 70s team leads 4-0. And I can see all the Canadians getting their calculators out and seeing if that scoreline holds, they will be the champs. What looked to be a rout in the game and an easy victory by run differential was nothing of the sort, as both teams went scoreless in the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Then the Wildcats had this chance to throw the championship back into flux. Fans sitting here quietly nervous here in the top of the seventh, as the Wildcats have runners in scoring position, second and third with 2 outs. Mike up to bat for the Wildcats. Any runs that they score here could flip the championship back in the other direction. And the pitch. Strike 3, swinging! And that 70s team gets out of a jam, holding the Wildcats to no runs. The fans let out a giant exhale warm enough to melt the permafrost of the Yukon. That 70s team looked to extend their razor-thin championship margin after Randy leads off with a triple to right, but now there are 2 outs when this happened. Jackie up to bat here, hoping to cash in with this prime opportunity to put a little breathing room in for the run differential in the championship. After a ground out and a strikeout, hopefully that 70s team doesn't squander this away. The pitch. One hopper to the first baseman. He'll take it over to first unassisted with no issues, and the Wildcats are out of the seventh. Nothing happens in the eighth, so we go ahead to the ninth inning with nobody on and 2 outs. Mark up to bat here for the Wildcats, hoping to play spoiler to this capacity Canadian crowd. The pitch. Grounder to short, over to first, and the game is over! That 70s team will be champions of the temporary Pro League Season 4, and the fans are jumping out onto the field going crazy! I am truly fearing for my life here! They're throwing everything, beer bottles, poutine, craft dinner, Celine Dion albums. It is scary. I better get out of this radio booth and throw it back to the studio for the post-game show. MW Wildcats finished the game with 0 runs on 8 hits and 0 errors committed. That 70s team finishes with 4 runs on 7 hits and 0 errors committed. That is all for the post-game show. I am Hogziller signing off, reminding all our listeners that tonight there will be a special broadcast of the radio version of Babe, Pig in a City on most of these local stations. Remember to check your Pro League stats, past and present, at sbgamestats.com. I have put a link in the description below. Thank you for listening to this edition of the Smallball Temporary Pro League Season 4 radio show. This is Hogziller signing off, and thank you for listening, and see you next time.